Bam! Watch this video and you might save $1 because you can decide if you can live with the power of the budget flat tappet camshaft versus the bucks up roller cam. This is Engine Masters presented by AMSOIL and supported by Mr. Gasket and Earl's Vapor Guard. Today, we're gonna show you the difference between a flat tappet camshaft and a roller camshaft. And we're talking like $100 to $250 investment versus the roller cam, which can get up over $1,000. So we're gonna show you the difference in power and you can decide if it's worth it to you. What we're gonna use for this test is that motor, which is an old favorite here at Engine Masters. You'd probably recognize it more if it still had its dual quads and its big fat hairy tunnel ram, but we've reconfigured it a little bit for here. Here's what we got going on. The long block is a crate engine from Blueprint Engines. It's a 400 cubic inch small block Chevrolet using an aftermarket block from Blueprint. It's also got Blueprint heads on it, which are 220 as cast head. This thing has 10.3 to 1 compression. Up top, we've added our 850 Holley XP, my favorite carburetor on Engine Masters. And the intake manifold is a big Hanken Super Victor Edelbrock single plane. The camshaft we're starting out with is the hydraulic flat tappet. And what we've got here is an Isky 292 Mega Cam. So you know that's gotta be good. The specs on it are 244 degrees of duration at 50 thousandths tappet lift on both the intake and exhaust lobes. And it's 108 degree lobe separation angle, and we've got 505 thousandths inches of lift on both the intake and exhaust as well. So now we're gonna go hang this on the dyno, sauce it up with some AMSOIL, fire it up and find out what power we can make with a low buck flat tappet cam. Oil's gonna be more important than usual on this thing because we have to break in a flat tappet cam. And so AMSOIL hooked us up with some info. This is like gonna be more baffling than you can actually handle, but they want 2,000 parts per million of zinc in a break-in oil for a flat tappet cam. And then they want to use something like the Z-Rod that has zinc in it for running that flat tappet cam forever on the street. And that needs to have 1,000 parts per million of zinc. So if you want to follow that advice, you're gonna have to call your oil company and ask them about the chemical breakdown of the actual oil. But what's really important is using one of these break-in oils with a lot of zinc in it for a flat tappet camshaft. Okay, our 400 is hung on the dyno. Are you ready?
I am.
Flat tappet cam power?
Yes. I'm trying to say it with a straight face. You know, they're good, they're good. A lot of guys still use flat tappets, and they're inexpensive.
Good?
Yeah. Very good.
Man, that thing's a buzzsaw. 7 grand.
I know,
That's
you
awesome.
like RPM.
Oh man, I love it.
Don't you love it when guys say they like the 327s because they rev higher?
Yeah, I know.
We have 400 inches here that just went and goes 7,000 RPM.
With the hydraulic flat tappet of all things.
So here's our baseline with the flat tappet camshaft. It made 486.5 pound-feet of torque, and up here in the horsepower, it's really flat through here. It's making a range of 494 to 496 horsepower, the peak being 496 at 6,200, but we're all stoked this thing actually ran cleanly to 7,000 RPM.
And it didn't fall over, it rolled over.
Let me ask you this, Freiberger. If you were drag racing that, I mean, you wouldn't shift it at the power peak at 62.
No.
I mean, look at the way it carries all the way to 7. Where would you shift that thing?
At 7. Definitely. And then let it fall back down into here. And then you're using all that meat. And this thing's pretty cool because you're launching the thing with like a 3,500 stall converter. You're just getting into the torque curve.
Or even a clutch.
4,000.
Yeah, it's good torque right in there.
That's pretty good.
I like it. I'm more enthused than I thought I might be.
Yeah, me too. We're going to be more enthusiastic when we put the roller in it.
That's
right
a
now.
really pretty curve though. There's no funny stuff with valve control issues or any dips or anything. No. That's a really good looking curve.
So that's a happy thing. A roller cam's happier.
So are we done?
Yeah, let's go install it.
Oh, I thought it was like beer time. I'm happy with it. We have to change it.
So Steve and I are changing the cam?
Actually, I was thinking, let me know when you guys are squared away. I'm just going to be right here.
Okay, I guess I'll go handle
I thought
it.
we loved it so much we didn't have to change the cam.
Oh, no.
Now we have to know.
We love more power more.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hydraulic roller.
Go. That was the power that we made with the ISKI 292 Mega Cam with the hydraulic flat tappet lifter. And now we're gonna move on to a camshaft that uses a hydraulic roller lifter. So what are we talking about? These right here are what are called tappets, or lifters, or sometimes followers even. They're what ride on the camshaft and move up and down to open and close your valves. Now the difference in design is pretty clear. The flat tappet has a flat surface that rides on the cam lobe, and the roller has a little roller that rides on the cam lobe. Now, what we're doing here is not a scientific analysis of just the difference in performance of these two lifters, but instead, it's about the difference in performance that we can get based on the way that a camshaft can be ground depending on what type of lifter it uses. See, we can have the same duration on both camshafts, but the roller allows you to have a more aggressive ramp rate on the lobe and more total lift per degree of duration than the flat tappet cam. To put that in hard numbers, the two camshafts that we're testing today both have the same degrees of duration at 50 thousandths tappet lift. It's 244 degrees. However, they have completely different lift. The flat tappet cam is 505 thousandths of an inch lift. The roller tappet cam is 558 thousandths of an inch lift. Not only do we have that 53 thousandths extra lift with the roller tappet, but the more aggressive shape of the camshaft lobe is gonna open and close the valves more quickly and more aggressively than you can with a flat tappet, which sort of gives you more effective duration. Now we're gonna go install this hydraulic roller camshaft and give you even more little tips and tricks along the way. So now we're gonna swap the camshaft, which means taking a lot of stuff apart. We're gonna have the whole front end apart, valve covers off, rocker arms off, push rods out, because a lot of that stuff has to get changed. The intake manifold will come off so that we can get at the lifters.
And I'm draining the block.
Yeah. If you ever take flat tappet lifters off of a flat tappet cam, you want to keep them in order, because if you put the cam back in later, you do not want to take a lifter off one lobe and put it back on another, because they sort of mate to each other as they break in, and they will wreck themselves if you put them on the wrong lobe, even though Dulcich has done that probably many times.
Yeah, I know. We won't talk about that.
Now's when we get into some of the stuff that you need to know when you have a roller cam that can make it more expensive. The roller camshaft, you need to control end play, meaning fore and aft movement, whereas that's sort of handled on its own with a flat tappet cam. So you need some way of retaining the camshaft at the front of the engine and establishing that end play. On a factory GM block or on this aftermarket blueprint block, you can use a plate like this. On others, you need to get what's called a cam button that presses against the inside of the timing cover and sets that. It can be kind of a pain. It's just something you need to know. The other thing that's gonna cost you when you're changing to a roller is if you're taking out a flat tappet lifter and putting in a roller lifter, the roller is almost certainly taller than the flat tappet, which means you need a shorter push rod. Sometimes, of course, you're gonna need a different push rod for the flat tappet anyway. I mean, you always need to check valve chain geometry when you're putting a cam in, but when you're doing the roller, guaranteed you're gonna need a new push rod. When you're working on a small block Chevy, if you've got a block that can accommodate it, you can use a factory roller lifter, which is what these are. If you don't have that, or if you're dealing with, let's say, a big block Mopar or something that never came from the factory with a roller cam, you need what's called a link bar that attaches the two lifters together. Now, the factory handled that with this, which is called a dog bone or a bow tie, which slides over the lifters like this and holds them together to keep them from rotating in the block. Because here's the thing, if this lifter were to spin sideways, the roller wheel would get sideways on the cam like that and it wipes itself out immediately. And so all of that little hardware and stuff is sort of what adds up and makes the roller cam deal closer to $1,000 instead of the flat tappet, which is closer to 250 bucks. So once we get this intake on there, we have to slam on the valve covers, and then I think we're ready to fire it up.
Can I do one of the valve covers?
Are you allowed?
I don't know.
Are you gonna grease the gasket?
No, you don't have to with those kind of gaskets.
So we have the roller cam all installed now and ready to fire it up. It's gonna make more power, but there's no reason to assume that it would take different ignition timing, right?
No, I don't believe
And the
it.
jetting will probably solve itself.
Yeah, I mean, we'll take one good look at it, but I think the timing is going to be pretty much determined by combustion chamber and dome and, you know, cylinder head.
Way better. Let's look at the overlay of that versus the flat Tappet. Our official run with the roller cam, 492.9 pound-feet of torque, 517.5 horsepower. Let's overlay the flat Tappet and see how much better it is everywhere in the curve. Oh, not as much better down here below 4,300 as I thought that it might be.
I thought it would diverge.
It did. But up here when you start picking up engine speed above 4,500, look at that, the roller is way
really
better.
need the additional airflow.
The question is, for most people, I think we agreed roughly $800 difference in price, somewhere in there, 700 to, 1,000. Is that worth it to have that much more power?
But that's a lot. It's definitely worth it to me, right there. That's quite a
Well,
bit.
it's worth it also to me because the fears of grinding a lobe flat with a flat Tappet lifter are sort of gone.
And this is still, in my opinion, a mid-level motor. You know, when you look at the guys who are doing 572s, they've even got some packages now for super gas and super comp with hydraulic roller camshafts in them. And those things are like in the 270s. And you're not going to be able to make that kind of power that's required with a flat Tappet.
I think this duration at 50 is about as big as you want to go with a hydraulic flat Tappet. You can run a little bit bigger with a solid flat.
Yeah.
So there you have it. That's your difference between the flat Tappet cam down here in red and the roller in black. That's a lot of meat in the power curve. You just have to decide if it's worth it for you. How about you?
Definitely worth it.
For me, yeah.
Totally?
Yeah.
So what, did we deliver the BAM?
Bam!
Really?
Hydraulic roller. I wanted to be a hydraulic flat Tappet guy, but I'm convinced now.
Oh, I don't know, I'm gonna go the other way. I was really impressed with that 292 Mega Cam. I was surprised it went to 7,000 RPM and it made pretty good power. And it confirmed, I think, my suspicion that like when I was 17 years old and throwing a PAW camshaft in my 383 Mopar, it might not have been that bad. But the takeaway, I always think of it from like the average muscle car guy's perspective, which is, we keep saying this, a flat Tappet cam, this setup's about $250 for the cam and lifters. If you're gonna go with a roller conversion and the roller lifters and cam and the distributor gear that you might need and the cam button and push rods, closer to $1,000. So you gotta decide if that extra $750 to $800 is really worth it for the project that the average viewer is putting together. And I think most people building an engine to this level, 500 horsepower, probably are not even considering a hydraulic flat Tappet to begin with. And some of them might now go, that wasn't that bad.
It depends on who you are. You might be that guy who wants to get the hydraulic roller, spend the money, it might not mean that much to you, or you might be the bucks down guy who can make pretty close, same RPM, pretty close to pretty good power, and save a bundle.
Yeah.
So I'm usually that guy.
I know.
Yeah.
Now you like the hydraulic roller better than ever, and I like the hydraulic flat Tappet better than ever. Not that I would pick it every time, but I was just more impressed with it than I expected to be.
Yeah, so they were both actually pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the type of testing that you're gonna get every time when you tune into Engine Masters, presented by AMSOIL, supported by Mr. Gasket and Earl's Vapor Guard. We'll see you next time on YouTube, on Motor Trend On Demand, and now, did you know that you can even subscribe to Motor Trend On Demand through Amazon? Pretty
Wow,
crazy.
that's cool.
We're big time, Dolchek.
Oh man.
Yeah, see you next time. So you're saying this valve spring was probably a little bit heavy for the flat Tappet, but probably right for this one.
Yeah.
So it's not going to float. You're guaranteeing it?
I'm not guaranteeing 7,000. I think it'll make it to 64,500 without any issues.
I will guarantee 7,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is this your clairvoyance
Well, no,
channeling
because
through again?
just watch.
Don't fail me,
Just,
Brule.
just sit there, operate the dyno, and observe.
Shut up.
Observe. Clean as a whistle.
You don't really know that till you look at
Oh
it.
no, you can hear it.
Do you ever win? I thought you were Dino Brain Brule.
I am, but I try to talk sensible stuff, and he just pulls his stuff out of the air like
And it
this, and all of a
happens.
sudden it happens. I can go show you 5 other small block Chevrolets that struggle at 7,000 with a hydraulic roller.
Oh, I know.
He picks the one that'll do it with 350
Yeah, I
or 60
guess it must
pounds
just be
over the
dumb
nose.
luck, huh, guys?
It's the magic Iski grind.
Yeah.
That's it.
The-
Look at that,
the
it carried
smooth
perfectly
low.
smoothly.
Oh yeah, that's just like
Yeah.
picture perfect, guys.
Wow.